pulled the motor. Plane is inside. Get ready to lube it. That's what I use. 100 weight silicone shock oil. Pour some in my hand. Work it in. Use this Super Sport rubber, 100 weight silicone shock oil. You'll get plenty good enough performance for sport flying. 90% of what the guys that are in competition looking for ultimate performance. So not much to it. Keep it simple. Just wanted to re-lube it. I've ran it a number of times. Pull it, inspect it. Don't see any, this is brand new 1/4 inch rubber. Don't see any issues with it, any splits or anything, so put her back in the plane. So this is a lot of rubber. There's actually 2 half motors here. Each half is 4 loops or 8 strands of tan 1/4 inch rubber. I have the knots separated where they're located in the plane so they're not binding against each other. I have a rubber band keeping everything nice and neat wrapped around the base of the Crockett hook, and each half motor is on either side of this hook. Now I have the motor on the pushing stick. Helps to keep it neat. This really helps the rubber band around the Crockett hook on this end to put around that end of the stick, and then this end here is where I'm going to put the rear peg through. So we'll put her back in the plane. I have a mark on the stick how far to insert this stick in the climber. And of course we have the window here. So we slide the rear peg out. Then, watching the window here, I can slip this around that rear peg. Push the rear peg, spin it, seems to help. Push that up through. Into the other side. Thought I'd do this video to show a little behind the scenes, getting ready to work my way up to eventually max winds with the climber. So pull the motor, inspect it, lube it, reinstall it. I set up the stooge out here in the yard because so I can handle it. Like right there, I was pulling tension against the stooge with the motor, stretching the motor so I could pull the winding stick. And then the last part to this is to preload the motor so it's where it is when it unwinds, which is pretty much every time right at 17 winds. I count it when I unwind it between flights. It's very consistent. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a half, that would be 18. Now I have the motor back in the plane, not sagging, not bunched up, against the stop screw, and we look through this inspection window. There it is, around the rear peg. As I progress with more winds on the climber, heading toward max winds, I'm going to be using a torque meter. Goes up to 45 inch ounces. That happens to be where the max winds will be with this motor. This motor is very similar to the Gollywalk. Same number of strands, just 1 inch longer. So I've flown the Gollywalk to 45 inch ounces. I know that's a good number. With the Gollywalk, way back when, I wound a motor in the stand until it blew. And then I knew where the torque was. So pretty confident I can go to 45 inch ounces. Using a torque meter versus counting turns, it's a more repeatable measurement. So as we approach max winds, that's always a concern. How's the plane responding? Is it torquing into the ground or making that dive, or is it climbing the rope, the ultimate power climb out? So whether it's difference of temperature, how much lube's on the motor, new motor, old motor, do you replace the motor, how do you get back confidently to that max winds or max torque setting is the better way to do it. Once you've flown a plane and you've used a torque meter, you have way more confidence as you approach max winds what's the plane's going to do. So we'll be using this moving forward as we progress up from the 300 winds we've done so far. Not sure why I didn't think of this before. While I'm on the radio control, I removed the timer. That's 20 grams of weight that I didn't need on the plane while I'm using RC. I also switched out the LiPo. Had 850 milliamp hour LiPo in here. Switched out to a 350 milliamp hour LiPo. Between smaller battery and removing a timer, that was 28 grams took out of the plane. So now with the RC system on the plane, and the timer removed and that lighter battery with the RC on here versus the timer. So take the brick off and run it as a true free flight with the timer. This is only a ½ ounce heavier than it would be with the timer. So there's a little bit of a behind the scenes look at what's involved with flying these large rubber powered free flight models. I set all this up just to service the rubber motor, but you gotta love the details. It's been a lifetime passion of mine, fascination of free flight model airplanes. Now I'm ready to move forward, heading toward Max Wines with the climber, and looks like I'll be cherry picking the weather. A little breezy today. I'll be keeping my eye on the weather for a nice day where we can send this climber.